I hope we're doing well today, that you're all doing well. It's now 10 past 10 on the 13th of the 3rd, 2020. So, yeah, interesting day today. I looked today, as I always do, a number of times to see if the DVLA situation has been sorted, and the answer is no. I still have no entitlement to drive. So I thought, right, okay. I was umming and ahhing, do I go down the gym? Yeah, because obviously, yeah, got to walk down, walk back up again. Leaves my dogs alone for a long time because I'm out for another 40 minutes longer because of that. So I thought, well, not really, I'm not sure. But I'm prepared because whenever I'm going down the sauna, I put a 2 litre bottle of juice or drink in the freezer to make it cold enough for the sauna. And they've already done that before I have my kip because I always have a kip around midday sort of time. And I did that beforehand. So I thought, well, I've done that. I thought, well, due to this coronavirus situation, it's quite likely the gym will be closed quite soon. So I should go down. Let's have a use of the sauna. Yeah, and lo and behold, as interesting as it could possibly be, for the last month, I've been trying to bump into a chap who I know goes to the sauna, also goes to the meeting I go to that once a month. That I was today thinking when I saw that DVLA situation was working, well, I won't be going to that thing tomorrow. I can't drive there. And a friend of mine sort of suggested that he would take me, but I knew it's quite likely he'd want to drive my car. And it's like, no. Yeah, I don't really mind him driving my car if I'm there with him all the time. So if I need to go to the shop, he drives my car instead of driving his. That saves his petrol. I understand that he wants to do that. Yeah, and I'm with him all the time. So if anything happens, I'm in the car. So if I need to claim from insurance, I know what's happened, so therefore I can deal with it. Whereas if he drops me off somewhere and drives back, then if he doesn't quite lock the car up properly, because this one is a tricky little situation with this. Excuse me, I've got a hiccup. With this car, you don't have a key; you have a key fob, and that works as the key. So it's the first car I've had that's had one of these. Now, when you get out of the car after driving it or turn it on, you have to press a button near where the key bit is, even though it's not a key, just a plastic bit in there you have to turn. And then you press it and turn it once more, and that locks the car. That shuts the engine down, that turns the alarm on and everything. If he doesn't know that's what he's supposed to do, then he could have left my car unlocked. So I thought, well, I won't be going. Then, as I said, lo and behold, the one person that I've been trying to meet for the past month ends up being there in the sauna at that time today. The day before that meeting's going to be there. And it's like, as soon as he heard the situation, he offered me a lift. And so as soon as I'm at the point where I say, okay, I don't think it's going to happen. It's got to that stage yet. Then God says, here you go. The person you're waiting to see to get this sorted is there today. You just needed to not worry about it. Just trust in me. It would have happened. It's like, yeah, yeah, that's it. That's true. We get worried about things and we get to thinking that, yeah. I mean, I never said that it wasn't going to happen. I mean, it's like my license. I'm not saying that I won't get it back for a long time, but the longer it goes because of this coronavirus, it could very well be 4 months until I get it back. Because at the moment, there's discussions about whether offices and such like should be closed down, especially if someone in the office comes down with the virus. There's a lot of suggestions of closing down offices. So of course, the DVLA is a major office with thousands of people working there. it would be quite likely that at some point soon, if the coronavirus isn't dealt with soon, that they're going to close down. So it's like, this could be a long-term situation. It could be a long-term situation. Not it will. Anyway, so yeah, that was the situation that happened today. So that was nice. So it looks like I should be going to the filling station tomorrow, which would be good. Now, with regards to the title of this one, I'm not sure what the title is going to be. I mean, there's a lot of things that were going through my head, but basically love. And love is the thing I think I'm going to speak about today. And because there's a lot of things that the world has sort of crept in to the understandings. Like I was talking the other day about marriage and about, when I was talking about homosexuality, speaking about sexual sin and how any marriage that God hasn't put together is sexual sin. That relationship is a sin because God hasn't said that these two people should be together. Now that obviously looked at a few points, and obviously a bit of a top up on that I think is necessary. For example, if you have children in a marriage that you don't think that God put together, you need to get together with your husband or wife, with your other person involved, and come before God and ask God to make this marriage one that God is going to bless and unite and make happen, because of the fact that you have children involved now. You have children in that marriage. If you have no children, then if God hasn't put you together and you really don't have much of a desire to fight for that relationship, if you don't think it's going to work, if you don't think you really are suitable, because I was explaining to this chap that I met in the salon today that part of the problem is with Christians is that they meet somebody, they get to like them, then they could find themselves in a sexual relationship with someone, and then they think, oh my God, we should never see each other again, or we've got to get married right now. Because if not, we're going to commit sin. We shouldn't be committing sin. What they don't really understand is that they're already joined as in marriage wrongfully by getting involved sexually. But so therefore they compound that situation by getting married because of that, because they don't want to sin, and because the church doesn't understand this issue. The church doesn't understand that whoever God puts together, let no man separate. But what about the ones that God hasn't put together? And if that's a majority, then most people can actually divorce and remarry. And remarry, certainly, and remarry the one that God has for them. There was no problem with that at all. And if you're talking about the person that God has for you, now, if you're with that person and you're allowing that relationship to die, you really do need to look at yourself very, very seriously. Because if you let that person get away, and that person is the person that God has for you, that is your soulmate, as they say, then you're going to seriously regret allowing that thing to die. I mean, there's no saying that you two can't get back together in the future, but it's going to be a lot harder to get back together than it is to stay together. So if you're in a relationship that God has joined together, don't let any man stroke woman separate the two of you, including you two. But that's why I said focus on your relationship with God, and then God will deal with the things that you're doing wrong in the relationship and help you to be the most loving person you can possibly be. And that's a good start to fixing any relationship. Because then once that happens, your husband, wife sees a change in you and they look to God to do the same in them. If you haven't yet got that person, but you do have a best friend, and that best friend is of the opposite gender, then there's a very strong chance that your best friend is the person you are supposed to be with. It's not a certainty, but there's a very strong chance that is the case. Because best friends have pretty much what it takes to make a marriage work and to have a fantastic marriage. They have the trust, the openness, the respect, the communication, they have the loyalty, they have the love for one another, and the fact they wouldn't hear a bad word said about one another. They're going to be willing to hold each other accountable because they love them. If I love you, I'm going to say what you need to hear, whether you want to hear that or not, because I'm not saying that for my sake. That I'll be willing to allow you to end our friendship rather than leave you in a situation where you're in a complete mess. So I'll try and say it in a way that makes more sense. If you're in a situation where you need to hear some truth to get you sorted out, even though that's going to be hard truth, if I love you, I should be willing to give you that truth. Now, if I love you that much, then we have pretty much everything it would take to make a relationship work. The only thing we don't have is a physical side. And that's stuff that can be done. Let's put it this way. If you are male and your best friend is female or vice versa, and you love that person, love making is purely about wanting to make the person you love happy and doing the things they enjoy sexually to make them happy. Giving them sexual pleasure. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about what is accepted in that sense because I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not an expert on that situation, and today certainly I'm not going to go into that. It does need to be gone into because, again, the church hasn't gone into it. And so that is something that needs to be gone into because there are, I imagine, quite a few Christian relationships that are struggling because the sex is bad. And the reason why the sex is bad is because of the fact that one or both of them doesn't want to do things that could be a sin sexually because they've never been taught what's acceptable and what isn't. So they don't know. There's a lot of grey lines as to what's acceptable and what isn't. Some of those things are acceptable, some aren't. And so, they're stressing about all of that all the time. And so it needs to be spoken about, but I'm not going to speak about it today. But that is, as I say, if you're best friends with somebody of the opposite gender, then there's a good chance that you could add that to your friendship and therefore have an incredible marriage because you already have the most important factors there. And as I said, if you're not best friends with the person you want to be with, and you haven't met the person, so first of all, if you have met the person, then test it. But there's various ways of testing it. You can do a gentle test, and a gentle test is basically, hello, yes, I think you're beautiful. Would you like to go out at some point? There's one test. From my perspective, if the female then says yes, then the first test has passed. We like each other. That's good. That's the first test passed. Now, you may just want to leave it at the first test and then start building from there. You may want to test it a bit more. And generally speaking, you probably will test a bit more because you go out for a meal together, you start having conversations, and they learn the good and the bad about you, or they should do if you're honest, and be honest, because they're going to learn it at some point. It's better they learn it before you become joined as in marriage than afterwards. So all of that is a test, because you learn their good and bad. So if you can't take their bad, the relationship's over. Same as if they can't take yours. If they want to change you or you want to change them, the relationship's over. So there are many ways of testing, and you'll be testing a relationship all the way through until the point where you're married. Once you're married, it's just a case of making it work now. You've done all your testing. Now it's a case of saying, right, okay. But you'll know. You'll know. Put it this way. Men and women are designed in a way that man fits into woman, right? That's the way men and women are designed. That's why, a homosexual couple isn't natural. Another reason why they're not natural is because naturally you can face each other as a man and woman, and you fit. Man fits into woman. Man and woman become one, as one. And that's the point. It's not about the sexual fitting, even though that's part of it. That's part of what makes it natural. When you're going to know that this person you're supposed to be with, is that, do they fit? Do they feel that they make you whole? If they feel that they make you whole, then you know you're with the person that God wants for you. That's that person that God had for you in the beginning. Now, that person quite likely, is younger than you, so they weren't born when you were. So when you were born, one could argue that God didn't have that person for you. Well, actually, it's quite likely he did. He certainly had that person in mind. He had to then make that person. Yeah, but he did. Because he knew you, he knows them. He knows that, there you go, spot on. You two go together perfectly. You two go together to make a beautiful couple. There are things you struggle with individually, but together you sort all that out. And if you have that, then you know. And once you're together, you make it work. It's not even a struggle, particularly. But one thing you have to do is be open, be honest. And I'd say if you're with somebody, make sure that you do with your relationship as you do with your car. Service it on a regular basis. Take it through an MOT on a regular basis. Deal with any issues that need to be dealt with. If there are any niggly little things cropping up, deal with it. Nip it in the butt, nice and quickly. But make sure you do that, because if it matters, then do that. Like, you wouldn't get into a plane that you knew hadn't been serviced for years, because of the fact, chances are it could crash. I mean, even if it has been serviced on a regular basis, if it's an old plane, chances are more likely it could crash. But if it hasn't been serviced, you wouldn't go anywhere near it. You would know that was dangerous. So why on earth, being a marriage, you're not servicing? You're not MOTing. Make sure you give it that service and MOT, because you want it to work. It keeps the point of openness and honesty, and when you're digging a bit deeper into your marriage, you're digging out the stuff that doesn't belong, that isn't healthy. You do that once in a while. You go over things with a fine tooth comb, whatever. Tooth comb? That's not the word, is it? Fine tooth comb. You don't comb your teeth. So weird. Anyway, yeah, but in fine detail. And then, because the most important thing, if you're with that person who God has for you, it should be glorious. It should be difficult to be apart. It should be absolutely fantastic to be together. When you're in the other person's company, there's a song. God, what's it called? Which is perfect in that way. I Don't Care by Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber. And that song describes it perfectly. You're in a crowd of people that you don't like. Yeah, they're not really your sort of people. But because the one you love, because the one you're meant to be with is there, you don't care. Because as long as they're there, you could be anywhere and you'd be happy. Listen to the song. If you haven't heard the song, I'll link it. I'll put a link to the song on the description of this one. It's a lovely song. But I say, if you listen to the song and you think about it from the point of view of the person you love or the person you're going to love, it's a lovely song. Again, that's one that gets me, yeah, a bit emotional because of the fact it's saying that thing that I know that I want. I want that sort of relationship with somebody. You know, so I know that I have a lot of love to give, and I mean, I'm not great at receiving it. I'm not because there's a lot of people that should have loved me that didn't, and so anytime someone shows me a bit of love, I'm a bit suspect of it. What on earth is your motivation? Where's this coming from, sort of thing? But I need to learn to do that more, to accept that, and so yeah, it's something that I want. I'm not too old for it. I'm still got some youth. I'm still able to get about and all stuff like that, and I plan to be able to get about for the rest of my life. I don't plan to be one of these old doddery people. That's why I go down the gym. That's why I try and keep fit because of the fact I know there are going to be challenges. You know, as you get older, oh, your knees are gone, oh, your hips are gone. Why should they? If they do, God, replace them, please. I need to be able to walk. Even if it's just the case I need to be able to walk up and down the stage. If you call me to ministry, even if it's the case I just need to be able to walk to the mic and back again. I need to be able to walk. So I'd rather do a bit more walking than that, whatever age I'm at, really. So yeah, yeah, it's what it is. If you have that person, then enjoy, enjoy your relationship and make the most of it. Don't do anything to hurt the person you love, because although you can make up for it, although you can, repent, and they will forgive you, it's going to be painful to see them hurt by you. So get your head on straight and just be open and honest with each other. So that you know the weaknesses you have and you can help each other with those. All right. Well, it's time I now feed the babies because the babies are out there. They've had a couple of feeds today, but not an awful lot. Apparently, we've got people coming around tomorrow to see them. It's always the case with the pups, and of course, we know about the coronavirus. Initially, there was 12 people making what looked like serious inquiries for 7 pups. Well, we've got 2 people coming over to view the pups at the earliest time. It looks as if there could have been 12. But of course, now with the coronavirus, it's quite possible that these pups will be with me long after the 8 weeks. So we'll see. I mean, if people use coronavirus as an excuse not to travel, then it's going to be interesting. So we'll see. But they're beautiful pups. It is lovely to have them here. It really is. It's an absolute pleasure to teach them to enjoy cuddles and teach them their name, teach them to come when called, and to do little tricks and stuff like that. It's great fun. They're absolutely beautiful little creatures. So you take care. I will speak to you soon. God bless.